When I was about 16 years old, my dad took me hunting one morning. Now, he's the traditional redneck, so we were up at 4:30 a.m.
There's a place down through Burton Bridge that'll be great quail ground.
Burton Bridge. I'll never forget it. We were in his new truck. We'd only had it for a week. Down this gravel road, there was a cornfield to my right and a ditch to my left. The ditch dipped down into the ground about 1.5 feet. Then there was a hill that was at least 9 feet. Keep that in mind. As we were driving, his brand new truck died. It just died. There was no warning to it at all. No gas light came on. No ticking in the motor. It just randomly died.
It's cold out. I just didn't let it warm up enough,
he says to me. He tried to start it again to let it warm up, but it won't start. It doesn't even make a sound. He turned the key at least 10 times. Nothing. We were soon to find out why. We sat there for a good 5 minutes, and naturally I was getting bored. I looked to my right and noticed something rustling in the corn. I figured it was just a deer, maybe a fox. But oh, was I wrong. What came out of that field will haunt me until the day I die. It was so horrifying. It had to be a demon. Or the devil. Whatever it was didn't want us there. It came out of the field like a cannonball. The way it sprawled out and stood up was terrifying in itself. It had to be 9 feet tall, maybe 10. It was wearing what looked like a trench coat. Almost like bat wings. There wasn't a single hair on this thing's body, and the eyes were red as lava. The way they looked into our truck almost made me faint. But I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Not for the life of me. It had almost a human face, except for the mouth. It was constantly grinning, as if to say, "Welcome to hell." It walked to the edge of the corn and stopped to look at us. I looked at my dad, and he almost had tears in his eyes. I've never seen him that scared in my life. It always seemed like he wasn't scared of anything. It looked and looked at us, like we were frozen in time. The wind was no longer blowing, and everything was so still. It started to walk to the edge of the road, and the way it walked was absolutely, terrifyingly horrible. Its legs looked like they were backwards, but they couldn't have been. The rest of the body was straight. The shoulder blades looked as if they were going to burst through its back at any moment, and the eyes... My God, the eyes. The entire time it was looking right at me. It took 2 steps across this 10-foot gravel road. 2 steps. It wasn't even walking anymore. It was almost floating. When it got to the other side, it stopped and looked at me once more. It mouthed something, but I couldn't tell what it was. I didn't want to know. It got to the ditch with the 9-foot hill behind it and stopped again. It was like it wanted me to look. Out of nowhere, its legs grew. This thing grew so big I had to sink in my seat just to look at it. It took 1 step over the hill and disappeared to the other side. We just sat there, unable to think about what we just witnessed. Finally, after 10 minutes or so, the truck just started on its own. My dad didn't even touch the key, it just fired right up. We drove off and went back home to go to sleep. My dad won't go back to Burton Bridge. He rarely even talks about it. Me? I go back sometimes, even though I'm terrified of that demon, or Whatever it is. Hell, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I've only seen it once after that day. It was standing next to a tree, glaring at me as if it knew who I was, as if we had unfinished business. Since then, other people have reported strange things in that area, but nothing like Dad and I witnessed. If anyone has any idea what this thing is, or even a thought to what it could be, please share it with me. I need to find out what it is.